Right guys, welcome to another episode of Midweek Matters, and we're down in sunny Spain, and we're joined by Mr. Simon from SAS Golf. So, great to have you on the show. We've been out playing some golf here, doing some vlogging down at El Rompido, currently sat in the hotel at Precise Hotels, which is absolutely glorious. The sun's about to come over, so hopefully we get a nice little backdrop for you guys whilst we're filming this. So as always, we're going to get stuck into your questions and see what you've been asking, what you want to find out, and hopefully get some answers from you as well, and
definitely
see what your thoughts are. So let's get away with the first one. So first question. Hi Matt, what is the average distance for a beginner? How to increase distance on driver, 3-wood, hybrid irons? Is it in the club head speed and clean contact? How can I work on the speed and getting better contact?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I think, especially when you're starting, golf's such a diverse game. I don't think there necessarily has to be a certain length that you should have to hit the ball. Obviously, it does help. I think, I don't know, in terms of like an average, I would say 7 irons probably going to be about 135, 140, I would say, probably as an average distance. Obviously, if you're a bit below that or a bit above that, again, you can, I think, work that into your game anyway. In terms of just getting more distance, again, it's difficult. Flexibility, strength. I think flexibility is probably the biggest key, actually, rather than strength, because you can actually use your body more to hit a golf ball.
More speed, isn't it? Like rotational speed.
And you're right, like centeredness to strike, so as you said, power, clubhead speed plus hitting out the middle, that's always going to help.
Yeah, if you're getting clean contact, you're going to increase your ball speed. So working on strike, is key, and it could be a number of things, can't it? So getting a lesson and seeing, how your golf swing works and how it functions as a beginner, and you can start making good habits early on, you're going to find it easier to generate a more consistent strike, which in turn is going to lead to more distance. Next one, JJ98714. Yes, played earlier, suffered with a massive push and hook. Any tips? So probably coming too far from the inside, got the face aligned to that pass when you hit and you push, and then your face will be close to that pass. So at the minute, you've got to try and find a consistent face position firstly, fix the face first and then the path. So work on getting that face looking at the target to start. So if you carried on hitting a load of hooks, that would be okay, because you obviously, depending on how close the face is to that path, ideally you want it pretty neutral to the target, and then work on feeling that you'd be coming a little bit from the outside with the club, as opposed to, again, getting stuck on the inside and hitting a big push. Davin11. Matt, a few weeks ago I asked what you should mainly concentrate to learn my hand. You said concentrate around the green. I knuckled down at practicing putting and chipping and into my first comp last week. Finished third. Well done. Very good. Also a swindle today and come joint first, and each round I shot a 66 and a net 67. Both rounds my chipping was next level and putting was on point. Thank you for your helps and tips. P.S. I said you was going to be SAS Golf. You made the right choice. As much as I love his channel, I'll put my face to it, don't let me down. I'm sure either way it will be a great game. So there was no actual question in there, but anyway. Okay, Roses. Oh, this one's for you. What's the secret to hitting those awesome stingers, Si? What is the secret? I promised you would tell everyone.
Great question. So me and Matt obviously tried to hit a few pass it out here. You've got to hit massively down on the golf ball. That's why it's always teed up, and you'll see me hit a 3-wood. Has to come out a negative launch, basically. So if you're from like a raised position, you're trying to hit down, the ball's going to come out a negative launch, and it's just purely the backspin that's just going to help it climb. So a lot of club head speed, hitting down on it, and just practice really. Practice trying to hit down on it, and then obviously not trying to top thin, which obviously Matt saw. I mean, obviously when I put it in the videos, that's not my first attempt. It does take a few attempts as well. So, bit of trial and error, definitely.
I will get better at them. It's my goal. Tyler Egan 928. Hi guys, I currently use Cobra's FlyZ driver. Would you say the technology in drivers has changed so much I should consider an upgrade? I can't remember which one.
I think, I know. I mean, you're gonna. At the end of the day, as much as obviously manufacturers try and rewrap it, remarket it and put it out there. I think there's been a definite increase in terms of technology in the past 3 to 4 years, let's say. So you're going to find a difference. Is that going to make your score any better on the golf course if you got another 10% out your drives? Probably not. So, I mean, it's obviously working into the fact, obviously, if you can afford a new driver, test it, and you see those gains and you think, actually, it's worth the money, then it's probably worthwhile. But probably saving a few more putts, a few more up and downs here and there is probably going to help the game just as much. So
yeah, it's, you know, you've got to deliver the club at the end of the day, haven't you?
Yeah.
Really. Pete Finch fans still can't get over he's got a fan page. Hi Matt, currently tour pros are not allowed to use rangefinders or GPS. Do you think they will be allowed to use the technology on the end of the Cobra clubs or the new TaylorMade putter? Keep up the great work. Thank you. Cheers. I think they would be, because it's not going to affect them in round, is it? As long as they were, you know, because the TaylorMade one, you don't have to have the phone with you or the app with you, do you? You can still record as you're playing. So I don't think I wouldn't imagine, because we're not seeing any benefit. Obviously, we'll see benefit from in-game and obviously in-competition stats, as opposed to getting stats from
they probably get
round.
I imagine they've got their stats for the past 10 odd years anyway.
Yeah,
you go on the PJ website, all the stats are already there. So I don't think so. I think they'll obviously be able to use it after round and analyse.
I want to try that TaylorMade putter. It looks
interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah. See what you'd actually learn from it, really. Be good to learn from that. Birdies and beer.
My kind of page.
Yeah. When meeting a new student, do you have goals in mind, or do you let the student set the direction?
I think both. I think obviously what they're coming to a lesson. Obviously, they want to fix something, which is great and a great starting point. However, you could be working on someone again with drive all the time, and their scores aren't coming down, and you look at their putts and they're having 38 putts around, and it's quite, as a coach, obviously you want to improve the score. So I think it's a balance.
It's just been on the same page, isn't it? You know, understanding, and if you've got a good coach, and when you first meet them, you know, that conversation at the start, trying to find out as much from the player, and you know, how they like to practice, what they want to work on this swing, how they see the golf game, you know, and actually understanding them as a golfer and a human as well. That's going to lead to
everyone's different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can then plan and make the best choices for that person's improvement together. Because there's no point as well if I just said to you, right, you're doing whatever, I want you to swing it flat, and you're in your mind thinking, I don't want to swing it flat. The chances of you actually committing to that are, you know, not very high, are they? And you'll just discard a lot of it. So you know, a bit of both. Let's get 2 more questions. Playing in my first comp, this comes from Gareth Salton. Playing in my first tournament in a few months, any tips on how I should prepare?
I mean, I think personally, especially when in a tournament, you can't necessarily prepare for them. Like, don't get me wrong, you can do your short game, long game, stats. I think the only way I would prepare for a tournament is if you're at the range, or you're doing chipping, and try and put pressure on yourself, try and make every shot count, because all of a sudden when you feel a bit of pressure, feel a bit of nerves or whatever, a lot of that kind of goes out of the window in terms of what technically you might have been working on. So I just trying to put yourself, or create games that put yourself under pressure, to then try and immerse yourself in that kind of scenario, I guess.
Yeah, that's what Si actually said when we stood onto the first tee playing Battle Golf yesterday with me.
I said I'm playing with the Matt Fryer.
I've been practicing for this for so long. I've been working my nuts off for it. But no, yeah, definitely. I think a bit of research on the course as well. If you're going to go and play that course, a certain course you've never played it before, if you can get a practice round, great. That can always help, because obviously if you play it blind, you don't know where you're going. If you can't get a practice round, having a look at the scorecard or the what are they called?
Course plan.
Course plan. That's the one. Looking at the course planner and, you know, thinking where would a good shot be, where would a bad miss be, and things like that, and just, you know, then you've got a chance at least then. But like I said, just working on the range under some pressure, really, just instead of just practicing willy-nilly and no real thought towards it. Let's go one more question. Ooh, this is a good one. Andrew Wob, 5400 in some point. Hi guys, I had a lesson recently and the coach wasn't using TrackMan because he said his students wouldn't have it to practice with. He said from where the ball starts and ball flight, he should be able to tell what to fix. And if he couldn't, he shouldn't be a golf coach. What do you think?
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think having that information at your disposal is always useful as well. But as we've done, obviously, in our PJ degree, they were able to teach golf before TrackMan, and he's very much right. If you the important thing is having a target in mind, and then from that ball flight, you can then assess whether the club's coming in to out to in, where the club faces at impact, trajectory, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's still a guesstimate at the end of the day. You can't, not a guesstimate, we can tell if it's coming into out or out to in, but maybe not to the kind of degree you can. With TrackMan, it's finite.
It helps quantify everything. And if you had the option, if someone said, TrackMan was £1 and everyone could afford it, you'd have one every single day. They are expensive pieces of equipment, and there is a little bit of a thing going around, people sort of saying, "No, you don't need them to teach" and stuff like that. I think the greatest, for us as coaches, I've learned, and definitely over the last 3-4 years working with flight scopes, TrackMans, GC2s, learned a lot more and understood more about impact and the science of it all. So I think it can help definitely, and even for a coach, you don't have to be handing out loads of information to the player. The player can be stood there hitting balls, and you're just using it to get that finite detail on what it is that they're doing in the lesson, and then you can change it. But that would be it. Well, that has been probably the sunniest episode. It has indeed. The sunniest episode of Midweek Matters we have ever shot. It's been absolutely gorgeous down here at El Rompido. Big thank you to them and Precise Hotels and also Glencor Holidays for sorting this out for us. Also, big thank you to Simon. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
If you don't already, go and check out his Instagram page. It's golden. So many good trick shots on there, and some that we've done from this week as well. And I actually was impressed with myself.
Natural.
Yeah. Subscribe to Si's channel as well. You'll see the logo. Give it a click. You make some great content on there also. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see these two pretty faces in another country again, comment down below and we'll do another trip. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.